Hello and welcome to the history of Babylon 5. Today's episode, the history of Delenn Part 3. And here we go. After being in a cocoon for over 2 weeks, Delenn finally emerges in mid-January 2259. When she first emerges, she is in constant pain as her skin is still going through the final phases of her transformation. Lennier discovers her emergence and calls for Dr. Franklin, who comes immediately and is sworn to secrecy by Lennier. Dr. Franklin has little to offer in terms of aid, but Delenn does not actually require any and soon is completely transformed. She is now part human, with the most obvious change being her bone crest is diminished, and she has grown a full head of brown human hair. Delenn presents herself to the Babylon 5 Advisory Council and to the new station commander, Captain John Sheridan. She explains to him that her transformation is part of a move to better understand humans, so that their races can continue to build up their relations. Presumably, at this time, Lennier explains to Delenn how he told Sheridan and Ivanova the truth about Sinclair, the Battle of the Line, and the belief that humans have been sharing Minbari souls. Despite her intentions, Delenn quickly discovers that her change will bring one trial after another. Still adjusting to the changes in biology, she also experiences headaches and periods of fatigue. Dr. Franklin insists on her coming in for regular checkups. The Minbari community on the station almost immediately expressed doubts about her, questioning whether she is truly Minbari anymore. Not able to reveal the full depths of the ancient prophecies, she asks them for their loyalty and trust. They cannot give it completely and asks to send a representative to the Great Council to relay their concerns. Adjusting to the human characteristics would prove a long and bumpy road. Delenn had no idea how to care for her hair, which required some help from Susan Ivanova to get it ready in time for Londo Malari's Ascension Day party. She also apparently stated having menstrual cramps, something unknown to Minbari women. Additionally, Delenn experimented with human clothing, as well as having purchased a human dress so she could be properly dressed for dinner with John Sheridan. She also began wearing high heels. Nevertheless, Delenn did what she could to adjust and acclimate herself, hoping all the while to better understand humans. She invites Captain Sheridan out to dinner. He is surprised, but agrees, offering to go to the Fresh Air restaurant. Before meeting him there, Delenn buys a human dress guaranteed to turn heads. She and Sheridan enjoy each other's company immensely, discovering that there is more in common between their two peoples than they might have thought. In June 2259, Turin, the Emperor of the Centauri Republic, arrives on the station for a goodwill tour. Delenn is one of the ambassadors gathered at the reception to formally welcome him. Unfortunately, before he can arrive at this reception, Turin suffers a major heart attack that leaves him near death. In the vacuum created by his impending death, factions within the Centauri Republic launch an attack on Quadrant 14, a Narn colony, conquering it completely. As a result, the Narn regime officially declares war against the Republic, starting the Narn-Centauri War. Turin dies a few hours later. That same day, Delenn receives a message from Jeffrey Sinclair, who is now acting as the leader of the Rangers on Minbar, training them for the upcoming Shadow War. He puts the Rangers operating out of Babylon 5 under Delenn's authority and alerts her to the latest information that they have been able to uncover about the Shadows. He may have also told her that he informed Garibaldi about their presence, though he did not explain the full story about the Shadows to him. Soon afterwards, Earth Force sends a large division of Marines to the station, allegedly on their way to Io. Delenn is annoyed at the presence of such a large force of fighting men on a station dedicated to peace and neutrality. She maintains hope that the Council can still mediate the hostilities between the Narn and Centauri, though she does not admit her doubts whether such a thing now is possible. Her latest attempts at negotiations have been a complete failure, as both Jakar and Londo refuse to speak to each other. A few Marines, having had too much to drink, harass and then threaten violence towards Delenn. She is saved by a Marine named Dodger, and quickly alerts Michael Garibaldi. She is happy when the division moves out a few days later. And we'll be right back after this. Midway through the year, Delenn is recalled to the Grey Council to stand in judgment. Lennier insists on accompanying her despite her warnings that in doing so he risks future repercussions. After arriving aboard the Grey Council's ship, she is informed that she has been stripped of her title of Satai, cast out from among the Nine, allowed to appear before them to ask about her assignment as ambassador to Babylon 5. She is shocked to learn that Neroon has replaced her, giving the warrior caste an unprecedented advantage in the council. Neroon angrily tells her that it was the warriors' caste's right as they fought and died in the war against Earth, only to have it end in surrender, scoffing at the notion that humans are being born with Minbari souls. Despite their displeasure with her, the council allows her to stay as the Minbari representative on Babylon 5. Neroon, in particular, believes that it is where she belongs, claiming that she no longer has a home among either the Minbari or the humans. On her way back to the station, Delenn learns that Captain Sheridan has been kidnapped by a strange alien race. Delenn is able to identify the aliens as the Streb, and gives Commander Ivanova coordinates to their homeworld. She then accompanies an assault led by Sheridan's old command, the destroyer EAS Agamemnon, which successfully rescues the captain. As the Narn Centauri war heats up, G'Kar relates stories of Centauri atrocities, particularly their targeting of civilian vessels. He appeals to the Minbari Federation for assistance. Delenn is troubled by the reports, but points out that G'Kar many times vowed never to rest until all Centauri were wiped out. He understands that his actions made it difficult to ask for help, but offers to beg if that's what he has to do. Delenn tells him that her people are tired of fighting, tired of wars, and that they will not be dragged into another one. She offers to do what she can to bring political pressure upon the Centauri, but G'Kar states it is far too late for that. That same day, Sheridan approaches Delenn with an alternative means to assist them. He suggests pooling their resources to bring in food and medical supplies to the Narn territories, then smuggle out refugees. Delenn agrees to help, and they explain the plan to G'Kar, who is grateful but is now convinced that his people are fighting a losing war. A few hours later, Sheridan shoots and kills a Minbari warrior on the station. Another Minbari witness, Ashen, claims that Sheridan gunned him down in cold blood after the warrior offered to surrender. Delenn and Lennier attempt to question Ashen about his claims, but he refuses to speak with Delenn, calling her a freak. Delenn cannot believe that Sheridan is capable of cold-blooded murder, but is not ready to believe Ashen would tell a lie, as that is a serious taboo in Minbari culture that would blacken his entire clan. As Delenn prepares the dead warrior to be sent back, she discovers that both he and Ashen are of the same clan, the third Fane of Chodomo, the same clan as Lennier's. They both realize Ashen is lying to save his clan's honor, the one thing that would compel him to lie. The Federation soon requests that Ashen be sent back to Minbar. Without his presence for Sheridan to rebuke, he knows his credibility will be shattered forever. He asks Delenn for help, and she agrees to give it. They set up Ashen to confess the truth. The clan elders set up a plot to frame Sheridan, resentful that a man who had killed so many of their relatives on board the Drela Phi during the war had been given command of the station. A grateful Sheridan makes a deal with Delenn to prevent Lennier and his entire clan from being disgraced. If Ashen admits the truth of the attack, Sheridan will not make him disclose the details behind it. Delenn happily accepts. When an ISN film crew comes aboard for a special segment, Delenn agrees to an interview. When Cynthia Torkman asks her some rather pointed questions about her transformation, Delenn is overwhelmed by the experience and breaks down in tears. She does, however, do a brief follow-up when asked simply if Babylon 5 is worth it, to which she empathically responds, yes. She explains that humans are the only ones capable of successfully maintaining such a station. While she has found this interview unsettling, Delenn does come to appreciate Earth news outlets to an extent, particularly a section in the universe today called Ion Minbari, which often has some interesting stories that she has not been privy to directly from her people. And we'll be right back after this. Kosh comes to Delenn and alerts her that Sheridan has detained Morden, who they both know is an agent of the shadows. They go to see Sheridan and insist that Morden be released immediately. Sheridan, seeking to find out what had happened to his wife, refuses to cater to their request without an explanation. Kosh agrees, and they head to Delenn's quarters. She reveals what she knows about the shadows. She tells about the last great Shadow War 10,000 years before, the Great War 1,000 years ago, and the inevitable Second Shadow War that looms. She explains about the first ones and the Vorlons are the last of them, aside from the shadows. Kosh then reveals to Sheridan the truth about the Icarus, his wife's ship. The ship arrived on Zahadum, awakening a few hibernating shadows. Those who would not serve them, like Morden, were killed. Delenn then tells Sheridan that Morden is always in the presence of one or more of the shadows, who can be invisible. And if Sheridan persists in keeping Morden locked up, the shadows will have to reveal themselves. She explains that the one advantage the side of light has is that the shadows do not know that they are aware of them, an advantage they will need if they have any hope. A pained Sheridan agrees to cut Morden loose, but goes to Kosh and insists he teach him how to fight and beat the shadows. What Delenn does not tell Sheridan is that she knows it is possible for Sheridan's wife Anna to still be alive on Zahadum. She withholds this because she knows that if he believes that it was even possible she was alive, he would go there immediately to find her. Not long afterwards, Delenn decides to invite Sheridan over for a traditional Minbari meal. She asks Lennier to prepare it, and given a guest of Sheridan's stature, the rituals required have him cook and prepare it for 2 days straight. Sheridan is happy to join them for the meal, but during one of the meditation periods, he dozes off. He is alerted by CNC of a problem involving the Marcab transport, and has to leave before finishing. But luckily, all the rituals had been completed, so Lennier did not have to do it again. The situation with the Marcab transport is far worse than anyone could have imagined. A deadly plague known as Drafa has swept across the Marcab people, striking down young and old. The Marcab believe the disease only strikes the impure, so their ambassador persuades all 2,000 of them to seal themselves into a remote area on the station, while Dr. Franklin and his staff try desperately to find a cure. Delenn and Lennier decide to administer to the Marcabs, who are all terrified over the plight. She goes to Sheridan and personally makes the request to be sealed in with the Marcabs. Sheridan at first refuses, as they still don't know if the disease can affect non-Marcabs. Delenn insists and Sheridan gives in, saddened to think she may not walk out. Delenn and Lennier enter the quarantined area and offer what comfort they can to the Marcab people. Unfortunately, the Marcab confining themselves together in one place only helps spread the disease faster. Delenn and Lennier have to watch as every single one dies before their eyes. Franklin discovers a cure, but it's too late to save a single one. Sheridan comforts Delenn, overwhelmed with grief over the great tragedy. In October, Delenn is contacted by Lita Alexander, who is back on the station. Lita asks Delenn to accompany her in approaching the command staff, as she expressed that she does not trust them individually. Delenn honors her request, not inquiring further about what has Lita so suspicious. She also shares another tender moment with Sheridan, after a bit of confusion over some gaps in her vocabulary, and they both realize that they are developing feelings for one another. Hey, thank you for watching the history of Babylon 5. Special thanks to the Babylon Project and all of its contributors for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you have, thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye!